I have a Skinfession. I'm wearing a bunch of makeup on this episode today. And it's because I actually had a client and I put it on. And then I looked at myself and I was like, you whore. And I took like most of it off. Because I'm an esthetician who doesn't wear makeup.
Oh my gosh. So if you're not watching this episode, you need to be watching this episode because it is gold. It is gold.
Alex will attest to the fact that she watched me take my makeup off.
I was like, wow, you have a lot of makeup on. Oh my God. Oh
Hi, I'm Sybil Solon. I'm an esthetician and spa owner.
And hi, I'm Alex Ellis. I am a body nerd and wellness expert, and we are business besties.
And bosses, running your business, it's hard.
But we're terrible employees, so we're figuring it out.
I've already figured it out, but we promise to share everything we know about making 6 figures.
And be brutally honest about what works and what totally sucks.
And I'll be honest, a bunch of it totally sucks, but let's get started.
So much of it sucks. Welcome back to Skinfessional. On today's show, we are talking about expectations and specifically how to move forward while managing your expectations and your clients' expectations in this new reality.
And how to figure out what you should be doing next so that you can kind of ask the questions that will help yourself.
Yes. How to figure out what to do next. Left foot in front of right foot.
Yeah.
What do I do
moving
now?
forward.
Yeah. And this topic kind of came out of some conversations we were having. And I think conversations that, other estheticians are having about this world. I'm going to vomit every time I say the new normal. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing now. But I think still, and I hear it all the time, I just can't wait till things get back to normal, or I just want things to get back to normal or whatever. And it's not. It's not.
It's not ever. Well, no, ready? This is now normal.
Yeah.
This is it, guys.
Over a threshold. And there's no going back. And that just, it is what it is. So instead of longing for what used to be, I think as business owners, where your energy is better spent is figuring out what you're doing right now and that next step.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I was listening to another podcast and they actually said it really well. They were like, nobody came back from one of the world wars and we're like, wow, I can't wait for us to really get back to normal. Because you can't go through something like that. And although, we haven't been through a war per se, for many people, this feels like the trauma of a war. You've had that same kind of experience of traumatic, fear and anxiety, being trapped in your home and had that level of anxiety and fear.
Yeah. Well, we're in the midst of a pandemic and a economic depression and an election year and a civil rights uprising. I mean, it's a lot. That line has been crossed and then erased. So there's no going back. This meme too that said all of that, just we're in the midst of all this stuff and you're just trying to tell me about how lit your mimosas were at brunch. And I was just like, yes, I see people just posting as normal. And I'm like, I don't feel normal. I definitely, I don't want to really lean into that term because it's it is what it is right now. So how can I figure out what to do? But every single one of my friends, including you, have been reevaluating what is working for me right now. And is this actually something I want to do again when I have the opportunity? And for me, some of those answers are no, I don't want to. The only time I left the house before was to go to the gym. And now I'm like, I don't care. I care too much. I don't want to, what was that?
Alex doesn't leave the home now. She's like, there's no reason except to go to Chipotle.
God, I want some Chipotle. That sounds so good.
Not sponsored by Chipotle.
No, but actually I should really I should put this in my Instagram bio of send me Chipotle gift cards. I don't need a Patreon. Yeah, I don't need a Patreon. Don't sponsor me. Just send me Chipotle.
Totally dig it. One of the things I was actually just thinking about right now was the fact that as one of the things that when clients come in as estheticians, we actually try to leave stuff at the door. And we've talked about this before. We're like, we leave stuff at the door, and in this room, it's like a very safe space. And we try to just talk about only like good and happy things. And I think one of the things that, based on what you were saying, that I hadn't thought about before, was that the expectations I think that people are having trouble with in my industry is that we literally now have to talk about all of this like anxiety and trauma ridden stuff that usually we'd be like, all, no, we won't talk about that. Like, this is not something we discuss because here is a safe space and we just want to downregulate you and we want to talk about happy and nice things. Yeah. And now we literally have to bring that in because people need to talk about these things and they need us to talk about it too, because they need to share that information with someone else.
That's so true. And exactly why, like when I walked back into the gym and saw all of the spots where your mats were going to be set up and the hand sanitizer everywhere, I was like, oh yeah, they're like, we will be talking about this. And that's not like, I don't want to contribute to that fear. So I'm just going to play avoidance, and that's just me. That's fine. That's me. But there is like the elephant is in the room and you can't talk around it.
No. And it's big and it's there. And we need to actually like use our voices and talk about it. And I had not actually just thought about it until right when you were speaking, that when estheticians and salon owners are talking to me and they're like, I'm dealing with expectations and I don't know how to deal with stuff. One of the things where I think that they don't understand what they're talking about or know how to handle is this idea of people are coming into the space and they actually don't know how to handle the mood of a client who's in trauma, right, who is scared, and they themselves are in they're mirroring that same thing. And usually they'd be like, well, I'm just going to talk about their family and their kids. Wait, off the table. Can't talk about that. I'm going to talk about, no, I can't talk about, we went out to dinner. We have no other topics to talk about.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing else to talk about. Yeah. And I can't downplay anything that's happening because it's all just fucking terrible.
Yeah. Right? I was like, and all conversations somehow end up with, talking about Black Lives Matters and Trump. Like you can't get away from it. And like, yeah. I mean, that's all really good points that I hadn't thought of because I just opted out of the conversation. And I have that privilege to be able to opt out because I have this whole other business that doesn't involve me having to talk to people face to face.
Right. You're just like, I'll put the mask on the lips and we'll just be like, shh, quiet. Right. But like, understand that one of the things that we do is we are a therapist, and whether we're not trained, we're not licensed, that's not our job. Like we are. And part of that job is like, we hold space as a therapist and we just listen. And part of our job is just to accept and listen and be like, yeah, yes, I also feel you and I hear you. Like, and that's part of our job. And remember, guys, don't take it in. It's not your job to carry the burden. It's just to let you be a rock, and this stream goes by you, and let it go. And Alex would be like, "Hey, journal that, meditate, do all the things.
Go meditate on that.
Keep yourself healthy. Don't carry the burden." But I think that actually is one of the biggest, expectations that's happening when the people come in and they don't know how to handle the new normal in their spa. They don't know how to handle that. It's not per se the people coming in and I'm canceling and I'm dealing with reschedules. Yes, those are all happening, but it's actually the people and the problems with that.
Yeah, because you do have to hold space for them because everybody is experiencing this to some capacity on their own. And I think that's the hardest part too. There's like a big influencer I follow, and she was talking about, she's writing a book about grief and then announced that she herself is getting divorced. And she's like, I'm writing a book about grief while I'm grieving. Oh, and Brene Brown talks about this too, about how, you can't really, you could, but it's usually messy and doesn't go the way you probably planned to speak about something from the wound. You have to speak about it from the scab. And we're all still in this.
Mm-hmm.
to,
Mm-hmm.
varying capacity. So it is like, I think that's one of the biggest, or maybe not, but to me as a Pisces and a highly emotional person, that seems like the biggest challenge is to hold space for others while you yourself are just trying to find solid ground.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it is hard, and just acknowledge, for me, I know that, I've just been really good about acknowledging that these are hard. This is hard. Like, I just like, yeah, this is really hard. And I just leave it like that. And remember that silence is a very powerful place. Like, listening is very powerful. And one of our jobs is to just listen.
Mm-hmm.
And I have found, as somebody who does talk for a living, and I talk a lot, that just sitting in silence has been very powerful.
Mm-hmm. Well, and being empathetic and just like holding, I'm so sorry to hear that, and holding space for people. I was re-looking at my Gallup strength finders, and I was realizing that one of my strengths is like trying to fix problems for people, which is also why it feels so safe and comfortable at home, because the problems here are controlled and I can walk away from them, So for
Mm-hmm.
those of you who are back at work and just trying to manage expectations and being there, like, I feel for you. I can't even imagine how difficult it is.
Yeah. Right. And let's go ahead and talk about what it's going to be like because I've been hearing a lot of people being like, hey, so I'm losing clients,
Yeah.
and having a lot of feelings about like this loss of clients. So first of all, I want to talk about the fact that you might be in a place, I want you to remember that you yourself are in a place of pain, loss, and trauma. All right. So you might not be, and I'm going to say this, and I want you to take it with a grain of salt, but you might be in a place of maybe crazy right now. Okay. So you're taking in you might be in a place where you're just like on your worst period day all the time, and just be like, so that person's not seeing me anymore. Just slow your roll. Remember that clients are not yours.
Right.
I've just seen a lot of flaming going on right now between people, because they're like, well, I'm not seeing this person. They're not seeing me. They're seeing somebody else. They got helped online by somebody. They got, somebody saw them in their backyard during COVID when they weren't supposed to. It was illegal. And I'm like, whoa, okay. All right. Well, that was a choice that they made, and it's none of your affair. And remember, you don't own people.
Mm-mm.
Okay. None of us own people. Okay. This is America.
Mm-hmm.
All right. In fact, we're having marches about that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have to remember that people are going to do what they want to do. And your job is to just serve them in the best way that you can, in the capacity that you can. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to then look inside yourself and think at your clientele, what is the best way that I can be serving my clients?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we've talked about this a bunch of times. Go back into the files, beginning of COVID. We've had many conversations about you need to start looking at your clients and thinking about the best way you could be servicing your clients. Maybe you're looking at the fact that your clients are not looking to be serviced personally in your space anymore. And some of those clients need to be serviced another way.
Mm-hmm. This
right?
is, I'm realizing as you're talking to you, I'm like, oh yeah, this is happening to me right now as well. So I have enrollment periods, which means, new people only come in at certain periods of time. The doors close. It's a hard stop. And then I go in and focus on my members. And in the last month, I had 4 cancellations, which is like, I mean, it's not.
And you're like, ding, ding, ding. Right. You're like, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. I mean, it's not personal. I know that, but I'm also like, okay, well, what's going on? How can I make that shift? Right. And so this is sort of what we're talking about of just,
right.
Like if you are reacting and taking it personally, you're not making logical decisions. You can't move forward. So for me, one of the things I'm looking at, okay, well, how long have they been members? Like lifespan so far has seemed to be about 6 months. And so just trying to figure out, okay, how can I, change that up? Maybe it's reaching out, whatever. Maybe it is just like people realizing that like, oh, hey, like things aren't going back financially to how they were. So cutting some additional corners. But then also for me, I realized that I was kind of like sitting back and working on the initial promise of my offer, which is let me get you out of pain. And then I was just kind of like hanging out there because it was comfortable. right? I'm like, oh, I know how to do this and I can keep doing this. This is easy. But for my members, once they've gotten to that place, they're like, all right, what's next? They're looking around and I'm like hanging out because I'm like, oh, but this is comfy. Got my cup of water. Like I'm comfy. And so I think that's an important thing too, is like do the rundown, like what's going on? Why are they leaving? Asking them these questions. I straight up reached out after everybody cancels, like, hey, do you have everything you need? What's going on? And a lot of it is like, change in circumstance. I think also because kids are out of school, right? It's June. That has an effect as well. But I realized, okay, cool. For all the people who are still here, they're ready for the next level. And I need to just get over my own thoughts of them not actually being ready and just give it up to them anyways. Because even if people aren't necessarily going to take advantage of something, they like to know that it's an option should they want, And so asking yourself, okay, what's the next level of service or, opportunity or care that I can provide for my clients so that the ones who are still here are just like blown away at how amazing everything is. Because the ones who are gone, like they're gone. They maybe come back, maybe they don't. We could talk about reinvestment, but like that's not this conversation. How can I serve the people who are still here even better than I am right now? And so really, truly asking yourself, like, if you're like, well, I'm an esthetician or I'm a therapist or I'm a, hairstylist, it's like, yes. And what else?
Right. So it's like that commercial and. It's like that commercial. If you ever watched that commercial, and they're like, and you have this, I'm giving you this ice cream. And he's like, and what else can I give you? And estheticians, we deal with this a lot. Right. And hairstylists, I'm sure you do the same. You get clients to a point. The goal is that you want to get them fixed and healthy and like doing the right things. And then you don't have to see them as often because, they're healed. Acne clients are like this all the time. Your goal is like, hey, me for most of my hard case clients, within a year, I've gotten them where they're looking good and they're feeling great. And they're on maintenance. Alec, do you have the same thing? We've talked about all the time that we do essentially the same thing.
Yeah, we totally do.
Yeah, we totally do the same thing. I'm like, we use the same language, you do the same thing. I'm a skin fitness expert for that reason. So within a year, 6 months, you're doing pretty good. Within a year, you got this, But you still you're still aging, you're still having problems, you still need to maintain. So you need to find how you service those people, but you need to service them before they know they need to be serviced.
Yeah.
Right? You need to give them what they want before they know it. Because once they are like, oh, I'm fine, they're out.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens is they kind of decline and then they're out looking for something else and they might not come back to you because they don't think about you.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're constantly in their inbox, which Alex is very good at, which is what our last episode was about, making sure you keep in their inbox and you write them amazing emails.
Yeah.
Right. So make sure you watch that.
Like looking at my to-do list, I'm like, I still need to set that up, but there's not enough hours in the day.
Right. But you look at your clientele and kind of look at them right now and say, are there some, and start paying attention to them. Because right now we are in this time where like maybe you were sitting back, kicking back and being like, hey, I got this. I know who these clients are. I know them, right? I've had them for 10 years, whatever. You don't anymore. You don't know who your clients are right now. They don't know who they are right now. Their whole lives has been changed. Think about you. Your whole life has been changed. So maybe there's somebody who needs something a little different. Maybe they need home care differently. Maybe you need to service them in a different way. And don't feel bad about reaching out and asking people, hey, is there something that you wish you could have differently? Mm-hmm. Is there a way that I could be giving you something amazing? Have you thought about me? If you had a million wishes, what would your wish be for me?
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm. Because I went on and asked my clients, I'm like, what could I be giving? Because I realized that my clients needed something else from me when they were not coming back in. And I realized that they needed home care because they were afraid to come in.
Yeah. And your point also, I just want to highlight, don't sit here and try to think up ask them, just straight ask them. Whether that is an email, whether it's a text, whether it's a phone call, don't try to think you're in their heads. You're not.
Well, because they're there to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And we're lucky enough that like it's not even a cold call, right? They're kind of like your friends or family. You can actually ask them without feeling like weird about it.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean, Alex has made cold calls. They're way harder than calling like your friends and family.
Oh my God.
Right?
I've also done cold knocking on people's doors when I was like 15.
Yeah, way harder. I've telemarketed. It's way harder. You get the phone call and hang up. Okay. This is much easier. You call somebody and you're like, hey, and you don't have to call everybody. You can call like what how many would you say? Like your 10 most like interesting or different clientele?
Not even.
Like
I mean,
10.
5.
I would still go probably 10. I would go. I have like 500 standard clients. I'd probably get 10 of them just to be like, hey. But if you get the same answer over and over again, you know that you have the answer.
Yeah, and it might not be the same words, but it's ultimately the same thing.
Yeah. So you find out what, and like once you have like a few, be like, well, how would you feel about this? And they're like, oh, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I'd love that. That'd be fantastic. I didn't even know I wanted that, but now I want that. Right.
Now I want it, and I will pay all the money for it.
Right. And don't feel bad about asking them how much money they would spend on that. People will tell you. People will tell you.
I think another question to be pondering and thinking on is if your business, as it is right now, if this is actually something you still want to be doing. And if it's something you still want to be doing, like with these new regulations and restrictions and changes, like I walk past the nail salon, not the one I go to, which is like one in my neighborhood. And now it's like the bank with the plastic and they didn't even opt for the clear one. So it's literally, you cannot see who's on the other side. You just stick your hands under. And I'm just like, I would rather sit at home and do a really crappy job than have to sit there and have somebody touch me and not even be able to like see their faces, All of that is to say, I think it is important to just ask yourself, like, is this actually what I still want to be doing with how it looks right now?
Right. I think that there's a couple of questions you need to be asking, and I think you can keep asking because it might be like, I'm okay now, but then maybe a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, it can constantly change, guys. Remember, this is an evolving thing. Your answers can evolve, right? So I think you need to ask yourself, am I happy doing this? Is it something I want to be doing? And is this still profitable?
Yes.
Because if it's not profitable, you can still potentially do it, but you need to find a way to make it profitable. Okay. So whether it's you need to downsize, you need to change your prices, you need to do something, right?
Yeah.
Something needs to change because you need to still make a living. And if you're not, once again, we're going to talk about running your numbers. If you're not running your numbers, then you're never going to know if it's profitable. And you need to find that out. And also that does help you know if you're servicing your clientele well, because you'll suddenly look at your numbers and be like, oh, this is where I have this gap. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. I mean, keeping tabs on your data so that you're not making decisions from an emotional standpoint is just so important. I mean, like I was just looking at my email subscribers. Like here's one piece of data today of like how many new additions to my list over, each month. And like this last month was like dismal, but also I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't launching anything. I wasn't offering any free classes. I was just like shuffling along, trying to build up a funnel. That's what I was doing. But then it's not like, you look at the whole picture. It's not, oh God, I suck and nobody likes me and da da da. It's like, oh no, let me look at this piece of data and contextually, this is what it means. So now I know what to do now to continue to move forward.
And by the way, just because nobody subscribes to your crap never doesn't mean that you suck personally and that nobody likes you. Okay. No, it might feel that way sometimes, totally all the time, but it's not the truth. It's just that for whatever reason, they're not seeing your stuff and they're not listening to it at the moment.
Or you're doing a bait and switch like the thing you said you just downloaded.
Oh God, I did. I just downloaded this thing. It was genius. It gave me the best idea ever. And then I got it and I was like, what is this crap?
Don't do that.
Totally.
And if you guys want to know more about opt-ins as we move into online business, you just let us know. Wink, wink.
I know we got stuff coming up. We got stuff. We're doing it. Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to definitely talk about, and Alex is very good about this, better at it than I am, is kind of having like a list of things that you ask yourself. And you need to kind of have this list and check in on it on the regular. And I would actually say at this point in time, like, and I am not good at this, and I still would right now, I would be better at this. Like, whether you put it on your calendar, you set yourself a reminder, whatever, like, run your numbers, write down like a couple questions to ask yourself, am I happy doing this? Do I want to still be doing this? What else would you ask yourself, Alex?
So actually just today I was setting my quarterly strategic goals with a friend and business coach that I work with. And her name's Kimberly Bennett. She's awesome. K Bennett Law. Go check her out. And she talks about whole life goals. I was just talking about this on my stories too. Like, you are not your business. So if like your goals and things you're looking at aren't tailored to you as a person, it's all kind of irrelevant. So what I mean about that is, and how it looks for me, I have my KPIs. It's a super boring, unsexy key performance indicators of how many email subscribers, what was my average open rate, how many webinars did I do, how many new clients did I get, all of those kinds of things. Like, I keep tabs on that every month, including revenue. How much money did I make this month? So going through and putting all of that in a spreadsheet. I also have, and I'm just stroking and petting it right here, a planner/journal thing. You guys know I love to write my feelings. I'm a Pisces, can't help it. Every month, and I don't get to it every month. I would probably like every 2 months, I'm like, oh shoot, I haven't done this. But they have a monthly reflection. And the monthly reflection asks questions of just like, what was the best thing that happened this last month? What were the lessons you learned? Reassess your priorities, like what worked, what isn't working, like what do you want to work on? And I have all of them from the last 6 years, every single passion planner. So it's been cool to like flip back and be like, oh yeah, remember when I was like worried about that? And now it doesn't even mean anything. So I think that's important for more of like the context, but also the emotional piece, because you are not your business. You have a business, but remember, your business could like implode tomorrow and you would still be here.
Yeah.
So if you are just 1,000% your business all the time, change it up. And now's a great time to do it. Do better by yourself.
Right.
So I have, the data once a month. I have the more emotional, right, of just like, how do I feel? What's working here? And then I also, you guys know, I do my journaling weekday mornings. So I didn't tell you the story because I wanted to tell you while we were recording. Like, how do I figure out when something isn't working? And usually for me, it's always tied back to like feelings of like being rushed, right? Like, oh, I don't have enough time to do this, or I never feel like there's enough time to get this done. And so I asked myself, what was the exact question? What would I like more of? And then I started writing, and it was like time, and it was all about time. And then I was like, okay, but why? Like, why do you feel like you don't have enough time? What is it? And I realized I actually had gotten away from something that I've talked about on this show before. So I stopped taking my own advice. And that was blocking my calendar. So I did specific tasks on specific days. So when I was switching back and forth of trying to fix this and trying to fix that and trying to do this, and oh my God, I forgot about this. Let me finish that before it's due so that could be done. I felt like I was all over the place because literally my schedule was all over the place. And for me, I have things that have to happen on a monthly, day-to-day kind of thing as far as like content goes. And then I also have like these bigger projects I'm working on. So that wasn't working. And then literally in the span of one page, and it's not even an 8.5 by 11, it's a smaller page, I was like reminded myself, oh, I haven't been doing this. Let me get back to that. That's an easy solution. And then already I feel more at peace with what is to come. So that gut check and like really tapping into your, I don't want to say anxiety, that's not the word, but sort of like your intentions. If I'm constantly just like pushing and striving and I'm just like grasping at things, like that's not resonating with me. So what do I need to change to get to a place where things feel like I can surrender. They feel like I
Mm-hmm.
can just like go with the flow, so to speak. So even asking yourself that question, like, what do I need to have more ease, surrender, flow in my life? So long story short, monthly data, monthly just kind of check in, priority check, and then daily of just like, is this working? Yes, no.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think it's important too to have like end of day check in and not be like rushing off to the next thing. And at that moment too, like, do I feel like I showed up and gave everything I could for today, or do I feel like there was something missing? And that missing piece is usually where there's room for improvement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. End of day check-ins are good. I definitely agree with end of day check-ins. And I think I hope actually most of our people who are listening have that, because I know that most of us have to spend an end of the day portion like cleaning, sanitizing, doing our chart notes, all those things, and to make sure that we're prepped for the next day. And I know for me, that is when I make sure I check in on what everything is gone for the day. And whether you run your notes if you run your numbers at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, at the end of the week, whatever, do make sure you're running your numbers, you're asking yourself those questions. And I would say put it on your calendar. So pick a time, whether you're like, I want to do it daily, I want to do it weekly, I want to do it bi-weekly. Alex is doing it every other month. I think that's crazy. It's not often enough, in my opinion. But just
I think numbers and financial numbers are not the same thing. I do financial stuff every week.
There you go. So kind of like put it in your calendar. Like Alex said, she's like, I'm blocking again. I'm blocking. I'm doing my blocking. So actually block this on, just put it on your calendar and like, be like, I'm going to ask myself a couple questions. I'm going to ask myself, am I happy? Am I making money?
Easy questions.
Right. Is there something I should be doing to make my clients be of service to my clients in a different way? Right.
Or even like, why am I not making as much money as I want to?
That's a good one. Yes. Because I think I'm trying to think if there's ever a time that I haven't asked myself that question, even if I'm making a ton of money. I'm like, am I not making more money?
I need more. Well, it goes back to enoughness, you know?
Well, I think for my business, I know for me, I'm always like twiddling with it, being like, well, could I get more out of it? Because that's what I like to do. I'm like, could I get more from this business in any way, shape, and form? But that's what I like to do with business. I'm like, well, it's already making a good amount of money, but could I tweak it more? Is there a way that I could make more from it? Is it possible? Which is why I love this podcast, because that's what I've done. And then, make sure that you also, we're going to go back. We've had this conversation as well. And we actually have this in our chart, in our notes about this, but like, talk to the person that matters to you, check in with them, whether it's your spouse, your best friend, your person, whatever, and just check in with them occasionally and do like a reality check and just be like, hey, how am I? Because I know for me that when I am at my like most unhappy and I don't realize it, like I'm suppressing my unhappiness, I am a mega bitch. I am just a mega bitch. And Nils will be like, oh my God, you are so off the wall, like just grumpy and like snappy. And I'll look inside and be like, I am really, really stressed and unhappy right now. And then I'll think about it and I'm like, I am doing very poorly at work. Just very, very poorly at work. And that was actually before I actually knew that I wanted to shut down my office. Like I knew that was how it was getting, because I was very snappy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my check-in point, where I was just like, I looked one day and I was like, I am really, really grumpy right now. I'm really grumpy. I'm not sleeping. I'm like, there's something wrong. I need to like really check in with myself. So
how are you feeling now?
I mean, I'm doing okay. I definitely am fairly stable. I've had my very snappy days, but I think that's mostly because I'm closing on a house, I'm shutting down a shop, and I'm moving.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, but most days I'm okay. Once I made the decision that I was closing and I'd come to terms with that.
But you're moving, so you're taking all of your equipment with you, right?
I'm taking all my equipment with me. So I'm going to be closing here, moving to Las Vegas, and probably starting up something quietly in Vegas. Cause like, I don't know, do you ever quit being an esthetician, people? Like if it's your passion, do you ever actually stop? This is a really good question. I want to know, do you actually ever stop? I don't think so.
Well, I would argue, is it being an esthetician your passion or helping people solve problems?
No, I do love solving problems, but I do love skin. I love solving skin
like
problems.
Waxing balls?
No, I mean, not really. I mean, no, that's the thing. I love waxing balls, but only to the case where like there was hair and now it is gone.
You like
it could be anywhere.
Problem.
And now it's gone. It's amazing. It is. I do love solving problems. Hard problems, the really hard problems. If it's easy, I don't want to hear it. It's so boring. I've already solved that problem. I don't want to hear it anymore. So Alex has been helping me with finding my why, which I think we should actually do an episode on people, even if we do a short one, on like people finding their why.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it's probably something that people need. Yeah. It's probably something that people need.
Yep.
Especially as they start thinking about it.
Yeah, I would say if you feel a little bit lost and unsure about where to go next, knowing your why will make that very easy. That's a lie. It won't make it easy. It'll just make it clear. How about that? That's
I'm going to do this on my face. If you're watching this episode, you should look at my face. I was like, oh, will it make it easy?
Not easy.
No. It'll help you at least understand yourself a little bit better.
Yeah. As I said, you're surrounded by
making money.
Yeah, as I have my crystals and all of my self-soothing things because I just can't stop working. I'm like, oh, this isn't easier, but it's what I want to do. And therefore, like, I love it.
It's true. It's true.
Even when it sucks.
It's true. And I guarantee you that the people who are listening, everyone who's listening right now, we all share a common section of why. Mm-hmm. Like we all share some common ground, and it's something to do with like helping people, changing people, making people better, making the earth better, spreading wellness, because that's what we all do at some point. So it'll be all part of your why.
Your why isn't about, I wonder, actually, would your why ever be about you? And if it was just about you, are you a sociopath?
Yes. But I think everybody's why has I think everybody's why has a little bit about just like, okay, so like one of the things that I'm doing right now is I'm doing a facial program where like you give a facial as a gift, right?
The facial, right?
Right, facial. Well, but I'm also doing gifting facials, right? So you're gifting facials, and one of the things is like when you gift things. Part of the gifting is the enjoyment of the gift. Right. And so the hardest thing with this is like the gifting of the gift. And so you want to be a part of that. So like I bought you that thing, but you got it in the mail and I didn't get to experience you getting that thing.
Oh yeah. Right? They just post on social, like, who sent this to me? That one.
Right.
The word.
So like I'm creating a solution to this problem. Right. And so I have created, I believe, a solution to this problem. And, my boyfriend just got a canoe, a giant, very expensive canoe for his dad.
Oh, I was like, why is Nils getting a canoe?
No, he bought, and this canoe was like the Mercedes-Benz of canoes. So it's like a $3,000 canoe. It's so expensive.
Custom canoes every day. I just have to.
His dad loves canoe. It's a retirement / birthday / Christmas / Father's Day, like all the things for the year gift, right? And it finally was delivered, and he's like, literally, he comes in, he's like, I really wish I got to see him like get it. It was like, he's like, yeah, it's great. I mean, I can't wait to be in it. It looks great. I'm really excited. And I'm like, so what you're saying is that you're having like FOMO of like not enjoying him getting this canoe. And he's like, yeah, like this is the problem that people have with like giving gifts from like a distance.
From online shopping. That's awesome.
Right? So I'm solving this problem. But many people are going to have like this, they have the same kind of like feelings about, I think the skincare distance as well as like estheticians and you. Like, so do you have this problem when you're working with people from a distance at all?
No, I mean, I intentionally set up distance stuff because I found that people were more responsible to take care of themselves from a distance.
Okay.
I didn't like
I know that for me, like one of the things that being from a distance is like, it has been harder for me because my clientele, like I do like a little bit more hands-on. And so my clients who are like, but I want to like have conversations with you and I want to be one-on-one and let's have them. I'm like, this is great. Let's keep having those.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. And even like group classes, I do miss teaching a group class, but like for me, the best feeling in the world was or is teaching a huge group of people. And they're new to me, which means I can use all my same jokes. And then they laugh at the jokes that I use all the time. And the whole room erupting in laughter, even if like 5%, 10%, even 15% aren't laughing, like to me, that's just like, yes. And I guess I know like that's not happening anytime soon. So just like pack that away, put it in a box, put it on a shelf, and we'll get to that later.
So I know that your personal heaven is a group of people doing amazing yoga with you and laughing at your jokes for eternity.
Yeah.
Right? That's amazing. That's why I like I'm so excited. We all learned about Alex today. That's amazing. I'm so excited. So we're all going to put this class together and I'm going to hold up applause signs behind her and lull signs. They lull and applause. And she's like, I'm having the best day of my life.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Amazing. So, okay, guys. So I hope that this has made you think about expectation and the fact that your clients might have it. You might have some dealing with it and thinking about ways that you can move forward in the new normal that makes Alex want to vomit. So every time she's been very consistent about it. And also the fact that we are going to have continued conversations about this because it's going to continue to evolve. We have talked about this literally since beginning, like the end of March, since the beginning of COVID. I think one of our very first episodes, we talked about kind of like these things happening.
I'm sure. And we will still keep talking about it. Because we all reach general peace.
Yes, because it's going to continue. It's going to continue. Also, I do want to mention that Hamilton, one of our favorite musicals, if not maybe our favorite, maybe our theme for Skinfessional is going to be on Disney Plus.
Theme for my life.
It's going to be on Disney Plus. So everybody can watch it. If you haven't watched the pirated version that we had on, secretly links on one of our episodes.
Oh, I was saying, I'm offended. You didn't tell me.
I mean, all the links are totally on our episode. So
go back. Apparently, I need to go back.
You should just watch our episodes. You don't watch yourself after I put them up. Oh my God. No. But yeah, I think that's everything. If you wind up having questions, please let us know. We are here for you.
Yeah, hit us up on social. We are on the Instagram. I'm at Halafamala. Sybil is at Your Skin Fitness Expert, and the show is at Skinfessional.
Yes, and make sure that you subscribe and that you send it to your friends because we need you to like send it off to people. But we also need subscriptions, and apparently we need your ratings. So please review it and be like, "You're amazing. We love you." Heart emojis.
Heart emojis. And if you write a really nice review, we might read it on the show. If you write a really salty review, we'll probably
still read it on the show. We'll probably still read it on the show, but like be like, "Oh, this person, this bitch."
Or you can give us a call on the Skinfessional box and leave us love notes in our box, please.
Which that number is 818-473-5277. And if you listen to the episode where Alex learned about what a box is, you can also enjoy that.
I was today years old.
So until next week.
Keep your secrets to yourself.
Unless you're telling us.
Goodbye.
Bye.